All right, let's begin with the big story this evening that we're taking up on Beyond the Headline. The winter session of Parliament has turned into a battleground. For a better part of the morning, discussions were stopped, not by the opposition, as often happens, but by the Treasury benches. Members of the ruling BJP, including top ministers, were livid at comments made by Congress President and LOP Mallikarjun Kharge at the Bharat Jodo Yatra in Alwar, Rajasthan yesterday, where he said that top leaders of the Congress had given their lives during the independence struggle, while not even a dog of the RSS had died. The use of the word dog by Kharge has become the latest flashpoint in the Congress BJP war zone. Let's first listen in to what Kharge said yesterday.
तो हमने आजादी लाई है, देश को आजादी दिलाई है और देश के एकता के लिए श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी जी अपनी जान कुर्बान करी है। राजीव गांधी जी अपने जान दिए हैं इस देश के एकता के लिए। हमारे पार्टी के नेताओं ने जान दिया। तुम क्या किए? आपके घर में कोई देश के लिए कुत्ता तो मरा है।
And the comments had the Treasury Bench in uproar this morning, with BJP demanding an apology from Kharge, to the extent that the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Jagdeep Dhankar, the vice president, had to ask them to calm down.
All right. Please. Leader of the House, control your people. Control your people.
And Leader of the House, Union Minister Piyush Goyal, then stood up to demand an apology from Mallikarjun Kharge for his comments, saying it is jealousy that has led to these statements being made.
खरगे जी ने अभद्र भाषा का प्रयोग किया, जिस प्रकार से खरगे जी ने पूरी तरीके से बेबुनियाद बातें रखी, असत्य को देश के सामने रखने की कोशिश की, मैं उसकी घोर निंदा करता हूं और उनसे माफी की मांग करता हूं। उन्होंने माफी मांगनी चाहिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी से माफी मांगनी चाहिए, सदन से।
The protests continued, but Mallikarjun Kharge was in no mood to give in. He finally did respond to the Treasury bench, but not to apologize. He, in fact, reiterated his stance, saying the BJP had no role to play in India's independence.
जो आजादी के वक्त माफी मांगने वाले लोग और जो आजादी के लिए जो लड़े हैं, उनको पूछ रहे हैं आप माफी मांगो। और दूसरी बात, वहां पर बात ऐसी आई कि देश को एकता रखने के लिए ये कांग्रेस पार्टी ये सब भारत तोड़ो यात्रा कर रही है, ऐसा क्रिटिसाइज उन्होंने किया। तब मैंने ये कहा, भाई कांग्रेस पार्टी हमेशा देश को जोड़ने की बात करती है।
So at the end of all of this, the question is, did we, as the people of this country, get clear answers to our issues in Parliament? Right now, the opposition and the Treasury bench is engaged in who said what and who fought for independence. Do we know what exactly is going on at our borders with China? Do we know if there is a preparation in case of a fresh COVID outbreak? Do we have answers on the economy surviving a global recession next year? And who is talking about what we, the citizens, need to hear? To talk on this, I'm joined today by Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, Karan Verma, author, with us on the show. Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, is with me, as is Arshpreet Khadial of the Congress Party. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us. Arshpreet Khadial, don't you think it's a distraction when Mallikarjun Kharge uses this kind of language?
Bharatiya Janata Party wanted to make an issue out of this in order to distract and divert the attention of the people, because they know it for a fact that they're exposed, that they are being caught red-handed while they were trying to bury, the Tawang issue under the carpet. And they knew that there were going to be hard questions posed at them. They knew their back was against the wall. That's why they came up with this issue and wanted to have a debate on this issue, when everybody knows it for a fact that we have a very, very important issue which is yet to be debated and discussed upon, the Tawang issue. 130 crore people are entitled to know what has happened there.
That's
It is
fine.
your duty.
No, that is correct. That is correct. But now, why the use of the word kutta?
Now, why the use of the word Saddam for our leaders by the Bharatiya Janata Party? Why the use of words like, Pappu for our leaders? Why the use of words like Dayan for our leaders? And the Bharatiya Janata Party's leaders would say, respect the post of the Prime Minister. Now, let's just understand one thing. The Bharatiya Janata blows hot and cold at the same time, has double standards, does not practice what they preach. Because if they really want this to happen, they should apologize for what the Prime Minister Modi said about the former Prime Minister.
Okay, Charu Pragya,
Last point.
Okay.
So they should apologize for what Mr. Modi said about Mr. Manmohan Singh. I won't even reiterate the statement which had to do with the raincoat remarks.
So how long back is this apology demand going to go on for?
See, I'll tell you what. See, we have never ever demanded an apology from the Bharatiya Janata Party because we know this is expected of them.
Okay, Charu Pragya, they are saying this apology demand is a diversionary tactic. It is the opposition who creates ruckus in the parliament, not the Treasury Bench.
Tamanna, first of all, I am best enough to say two wrong correctly. Does Ashpreet have the courage to say this about the Congress? I don't think he does. So there is no excuse for using derogatory language, and you're not just small-minded, small-hearted. You're dragging down Indian politics to a very petty and a very cheap level. I don't expect this from politicians of today. Another thing is, if you call this a diversionary tactic, let me quote Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji, since Ashpreet took his name. In 2013, he said, it's a small incident when China enters India. Please go back and check what Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said then, Ashpreet, and you will know how Congress party handled any problem with regards to the internal security of this country. So not just in 2013, if you go back to 2006, 2008, 2009 and 2013, on all these four instances, when the Chinese army entered into Indian territory, Congress refused to discuss it in Parliament. But you know what the BJP did? We were in opposition then. We stood by our army and we stood by the government of India.
But Charu Pragya, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? The question today is, are the comments made by Mr. Kharge in Bharat Jodo Yatra outside Parliament reason to disrupt Parliament today by the Treasury Bench?
Tell me something. Is there not some level of ethics which should be followed by this party when you're talking about the Honorable Prime Minister? Why not? What is wrong in asking for an apology when your language is that derogatory? And Congress has taken the brunt of using this kind of language repeatedly. In 2019, when you called our Honorable Prime Minister a chore, you lost terribly. You tried it again by calling him Ravan before the Gujarat elections. You know what happened after that. I don't understand. Why can your politics not be a little more constructive? Why can you
constructive
not
politics?
Simply calling names.
Constructive politics. Ashpreet, what happened to Mr. Khadyal? What happened to constructive politics?
Can you say the same thing? Can you say the same thing?
Now, two things. May I just rebut that? Now, let's understand one thing. Back in the day, there have been certain statements made by the Bharatiya Janata Party. We never asked for an apology because we did not want to waste the time of the Parliament. There are bigger issues, pressing issues which have to be discussed. Number two, if you see, Charu,
1 minute. Charu Pragya, then let him respond. Yeah.
Thank you. So, see, the Bharatiya Janata Party cannot even curtail themselves here on the debate. This is what they do in the Parliament. This is what they're trying to do on the debate as well. But nevertheless, we did not ask for an apology because we didn't want to waste the time of the people. But since the Bharatiya Janata Party wants an apology, if they have a little bit of decency left, a little bit of morality left, they should apologize first for the statements, for the track that they have laid for the people of India. And number three, I just want to ask them one thing. Why have you not issued even a single strict worded statement against China? Why are you greeting, Xi Jinping with a lal shirt instead of a lal heart?
Didn't the Foreign Affairs Minister, didn't the External Affairs, one minute, Ashpreet, didn't the External Affairs Minister speak yesterday? Didn't the External Affairs Minister speak yesterday?
May I make the last point, please? So 20 soldiers are being martyred of India. 2,000 square kilometers have been compromised. Tawang issue has happened and Mr. Modi is quiet. The Bharatiya Janata Party is
Can I please
basically
comment,
trying to
Tamanna?
divert the attention, and
I
if this
think
was an issue
Ashish is
enough,
collecting
Charu,
facts and it cannot be
no, hear me out.
There
Charu,
was
if
a
this was an
statement, let's
issue,
stick to the
if
facts.
this
There
was an
was a
issue,
statement by the External Affairs Minister yesterday. There was a statement. 1 minute, 1 minute. Please, please.
Just the last thing, please.
Please, Ashpreet, 1 minute. No, let me just divert this debate and put it on the right track. The fact is that there was an explanation. The External Affairs Minister stood up and spoke yesterday. And it's also a fact that the opposition needs to and should ask questions. The point is, Karan Verma, a lot of our viewers and citizens of this country perhaps do not want to get into name calling, who should say sorry for whom, who said what to whom today, yesterday and before that. Where are the issues that matter to this country being discussed in Parliament?
Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame, Tamanna, if you ask me. And this has been happening for quite some time. And to be very honest, every political party across the spectrum is guilty of derailing the actual functions of the Parliament. You know, as per the research by PRS, every single minute of parliamentary proceeding costs us, the taxpayer, 2.5 lakh rupees. And the way the parliament sessions have been disrupted time and again, and I say this, that in matters like these, we need to be bipartisan. We can be partisan and discuss who should have said sorry or who should have raised this and not. But the truth is that all political parties are guilty of this. Now I'll say this. Why is this happening? Let's go to the root of this. Root of this is that parliamentary disruption is a political tool in the sense that it helps them create a propaganda with their electorate just to show that, look, we've raised this issue. We disrupted the parliament.
No, but today, Karan, today the disruption was from the Treasury Bench. Do you think it's a political tool? The disruption today was from the Treasury Bench.
It is a political tool for both the parties, and the day it doesn't cut ice with us, the electorate, the day we stop embracing it and we start raising a voice against it, they'll stop doing it because they know they can get political mileage out of showing that we disrupted the parliament. Also, if the parliament runs well, it is a feather in the cap of the running government. So they don't want that either. I admire the UK system where 20 days in a year are allotted to the opposition to set the agenda, where the Prime Minister of the House is, as per Constitutional Convention, he is obliged to answer every question raised by the MPs during a certain time. So I think we need to bring some civility and decency back. Otherwise, we'll be a mess. We'll keep this tutu meme going and nothing concrete is ever going to come out of it. And the truth is, they don't even want something concrete out of it because all they want is to score political points, both the opposition and the party in power.
You know, Lokesh Jindal, I want you to come in on this. Whose responsibility is it right now to ensure that the House runs and to ensure that very, very critical questions are answered? I can't hear you, Lokesh.
Hello, can you hear me
Yes,
now?
yes, there you are.
Hello.
Yes.
Just a year ago, Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramanna, he had raised concerns over the erosion of parliamentary debate. He rightly pointed out that this particular government was disregarding the role of the parliament, the manner in which farm laws were passed, the manner in which there was misuse of ordinance-making power under Article 123. Now, all these are being exploited during in the present regime. And this is continuing. The point is, we are in a parliamentary democratic system. The opposition is bound to ask questions, and the government is collectively responsible to the parliament. It must answer all the questions that are being raised by the opposition. It cannot simply adjourn bring about adjourn motion, shy away from debates. I mean, the people of the country, they demand answers. Transparency is the bedrock of parliamentary democracy. So it is with respect to the nature of functioning of the government, and it is the government that is answerable. So you cannot at every time
and the opposition
take the opposition seat whenever things are not.
Lokesh, you know, do you honestly think the Congress is doing itself any favors by calling names?
Yes.
Chuha, Kutta. You know, are they doing themselves any favors? Plus, I want to seriously ask you, I want to seriously ask you, Lokesh, hear my question, then you answer, please.
I'm coming to
No, I am coming to you. आप मेरा सवाल सुन लीजिए पहले. I want to seriously ask you that talking about who fought for independence and BJP did not fight for independence, do you think that that's working with the electorate today?
It's not about electoral politics, but the point is the manner in which credit is being taken and a false narrative is being set in the country. That is something that is being objected. Now, in 2014, the Prime Minister invited the Chinese counterpart and he himself went in 2015 to China. In 2017, we all know what happened. We were having hostility with China. There was Doklam, then there was Galwan, and then now we are fighting Tawang. But what is the government doing? The government reduced the army expenditure in 2021. Again in 2022, the 63,000 crore less were given to the army as against the army had demanded. The point is, when we are facing such hostile neighborhoods, don't you think the government must come up with concrete policies, at least must have some form of a roadmap with itself as with respect to the Chinese threat?
Is there a clear answer? Karan Verma, is there a clear answer? And I'm going to just play out in a bit what S. Jaishankar said in Parliament yesterday. The question is there a clear answer?
Don't you think the opposition should ask these questions on the floor of the House rather than resorting all these chuha and kutta?
They are saying they're trying.
Don't you think
they are saying they're trying? They shouted down. They claim they're trying. They shouted down.
The opposition cast aspersions on the army. The DGMO Galwan and the PRO put out a clear statement. One second.
Lokesh, let him finish.
Why such hatred against mouths and dogs?
One second, Lokesh.
Are the words being used with a lot of love and devotion? Lokesh?
Tamanna, once the DGMO Galwan, who's a non-political person, or the PRO Tezpur, they put out a statement that not an inch has been ceded. And the Congress, the opposition, Randeep Surjewala, their spokesperson, continues saying that unconfirmed reports suggest that we've lost nearly 1,000 square kilometers. Now, that is not playing the role of a constructive opposition.
No, but they have a right to ask, Karan. They have the right to ask. They have the right to ask, and they have the duty to ask.
You can't be rumor mongering. You can't doubt our army.
Okay, Arshpreet Khadiala, okay. Let's come to the key accusation. The Congress party is not supporting the Jawans. Rahul Gandhi is using words like pitai ho gayi. It's demoralizing them. When there are statements, why are you rumor mongering? What is your response to this?
Number one, please allow me an uninterrupted minute. First of all, if twisting the statements of our leaders would have helped dealing with this issue, the Bharatiya Janata Party can go ahead and twist and misquote us, blow things out of proportion as much as they want. But if it is not helping with the situation, then please start focusing on it and start doing something, start issuing statements instead of greeting and meeting the leadership of China for 18 times. And number two, vis-a-vis the stand, if it should be united or divided, it's the Bharatiya Janata Party that is trying to make sure that the stand of India is divided because they didn't want to tell it in the first place. And this is not something that has happened for the first time. In 2020 also, Mr. Modi said no intrusion has happened at all whatsoever. When the foreign minister categorically, said this to India that the intrusion has already happened, and because of their timidity, because of their, incompetence, today we have, compromised. Our territory has been compromised. 2,000 square kilometers. Depsang is an issue. Galwan is an issue. And number two, the Bharatiya Janata Party, why does it, make such trivial issues a priority? What word has been used against our leader? If this was really an issue for the Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. Kharge and the Prime Minister wouldn't have been having lunch. This is not an issue for them. This is just, a ploy.
No, one would turn that the other way around. I will show those pictures that Arshpreet is talking about. After all of this ruckus in Parliament, there was a nice lunch over millets that everyone had together. So that is the bonhomie outside Parliament on both sides. Everything else is for Janta to see. But outside they were having lunch, which they should. There's no problem in that. It's a serious question. What has been the government's response on a key issue in the Parliament? Charu Pragya, I want your response to that.
So, Tamanna, as has been the norm, this time also, Congress party has chosen to believe their unconfirmed sources over
Yeah.
the statements made by chiefs of the Indian Army, and that is what upsets me. And I told you in the beginning, from 2006 to 2013, what were the discussions
Please talk about
led by
today,
Congress when they
Charu.
were in power?
Why do you not want to debate
1
on
minute. And
it?
if you
Let
want
him
to talk
answer.
about the
Let her
day,
answer. Arshpreet, she heard you.
Do you want to go back to the last session of Parliament, or the one before that, or the one before that? And do you want me to tell you how many hours of the Parliament was wasted by the Congress party over what you're calling a trivial issue? You use the word timid for this government. This is the same government which has made sure that surgical strikes were carried out to avenge our soldiers. We did not behave in the way Congress did.
You say
When,
that the credit goes to you, not the army.
when the attack
The credit
on
goes to
I
the
want to
army.
play out what S.
Please do not
Jaishankar has
give the
said in
credit. The
Parliament.
credit goes to the
I want to
army.
play out what S.
The soldiers,
Jaishankar has said in
the
Parliament. Let's
They
put the
deserve a
facts on record. What has been said in Parliament is important. Let's play out for you what the External Affairs Minister has said on this issue in Parliament, an excerpt of that.
I think we should not directly or indirectly criticize our Jawans. When our Jawans, sir, are standing, sir, our Jawans are standing, sir, in Yangtze, in Yangtze at 13,000 feet. At 13,000 feet, they are standing there defending our borders. They do not deserve to have the word pitai. The word pitai should not be used for our Jawans, sir. We have no problem if there is political differences, if there is even political criticism. I have heard sometimes that my own understanding needs to be deepened. When I see who is giving the advice, I can only bow in respect. But I think we should not directly or indirectly criticize our Jawans. When our Jawans, sir, are standing, sir, our Jawans are standing, sir, in Yangtze, in Yangtze at 13,000 feet. At 13,000 feet, they are standing there defending our borders. They do not deserve to have the word pitai. The word pitai should not be used for our Jawans, sir. Sir, our Jawans are standing their ground.
All right. Now, the question over here, Karan Verma, I'll come to you. The question over here is, do we have clarity on what exactly has happened? Do we have clarity on why Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping met in Bali? What did they speak? Do you not think that there should be some clarity on what is happening right now?
I agree with you. There should be some clarity. But I will say this, just now, just a few minutes back, Arshpreet, the Congress spokesperson, he again said that we've compromised our land. Now, it's one thing to question and another thing to peddle lies. When you start
2,000 square
peddling lies like
kilometers.
this, without, now let me complete.
Let him finish.
Without
Don't misquote me,
confirming-
right?
No, you just said
specifically
it.
talked of
You
2,000
just said
square
it.
kilometers that have been compromised.
Now, how do you know that? How do you know that?
Acha. So are you
do
saying
you
it on
trust
record
your
that not
own
a single square
intelligence?
kilometer has been, you are saying that not a single square kilometer has been compromised of India's territory?
Absolutely.
Is that what
The DGMO, Galwan,
now.
Let
you
him
have to
finish,
go check
Arshpreet.
this time, Galwan,
Let
and
him
Google
finish.
Austin.
Please, Arshpreet,
He's
please.
misquoting me.
Okay,
not
and
misquoting.
you will get a chance to respond. Let him
Please, let me
finish.
complete. The DGMO Galwan and PRO Tezpur have put out a statement. Now you are continuously doubting that statement and peddling lies. When the opposition plummets to such depths and starts peddling lies on matters of national security, then the buck actually stops with the opposition. It is their duty to play the role of a constructive opposition. I agree with you 100%. Corner the government if they have done something wrong. Lokesh raised a very important question. Was the money allocated to the from a budget standpoint as much as the army had asked for? That's a very valid question. I would love to hear an answer to that. But what they resort to is this whataboutery, that we've lost territory. There are unconfirmed reports suggesting that. So this cannot be allowed in a civilized
Arshpreet,
discussion.
the criticism of national policy when it comes to something like India and China and a standoff, do you think is tricky terrain that the Congress is not managing to figure out right now?
Wrong. We
The
salute
Pitai statement didn't go down well, Arshpreet.
See, now, please, let's tell the Bharatiya Janata Party in one simple line that it is you that is trying to low down the morale of our army when you do not say anything to China. And we salute the Indian Army that has given a befitting reply to the PLA at Tawang. Nevertheless, the problem here is, that the Bharatiya Janata Party basically wants the nation to turn a blind eye. They think Mr. Modi's image is more important than the national security. That's why they have basically been trying to, basically brush things under the carpet. And the defense minister had to talk over this issue only after the media reports came forward. 3 to 4 days, the parliament was quiet over this issue. And number two, the gentleman who was talking before me is probably suggesting that the nation should turn a blind eye, should shut its eyes and not do anything. Should we not reduce the trade dependency that we have on China?
The world is trying to do that. Karan Verma was talking before you. The world is trying to do that.
Did you not
do you not think that
the fact though, Karan Verma, the fact is that our trade with China has only been growing. Banning TikTok is not going to be enough.
The trade dependency.
You know that as well. Yes.
At an all-time high, the trade dependency on
One
China.
minute. Okay, Karan Verma is responding now. 1 minute. Karan Verma is responding. Let him respond. Ashpreet, you made your point. Let him respond.
First of all, Ashpreet just sidestepped the question I'd asked him. Does he still believe that we've lost territory? Does he not believe the DGMO's report? So he sidestepped that. Anyway,
I want to ask you one thing.
2004 and 5.
No, if you will only keep asking each other questions, who will give answers?
2004
should we not do anything about the trade dependency?
No. If we keep asking each other questions, who will give the answers?
Unlike you, I will not sidestep, I will answer.
That's exactly what you've done.
2005, Tamanna, we had $1.5 billion trade deficit. It was a very manageable trade deficit at that point of time. And that is after that, this entire policy of opening up trade with China under the UPA government started. And we don't know what kind of MOU was signed between the Congress Party and the Communist Party of China. After that, we saw an entire study happening between how Indo-China trade can be increased. And that ballooned up to $36 billion by 2014. So that was a grave mistake. Now, two wrongs don't make one right. But we cannot
why did Mr. Modi lie over the intrusion the last time it happened in 2020?
Please let me answer. Don't get rattled.
1 minute.
Don't get rattled.
Trade with China has been growing exponentially. India's trade with China has been growing exponentially over several governments. No, 1 minute. Let's just put some facts out there. Trade has been growing between India and China exponentially over several governments, and not just with India and China. China and the rest of the world. China is the factory of the world. Let's admit it. China COVID cases rise, global markets are jittery.
I agree, but it started with 2004. Before that, we were manufacturing many of the things here.
We could not compete. Then you say 1991 ke pehle hum khud bana rahe the. You're not against opening up the economy, I'm sure. Okay, 1 minute. Ashpreet, I want to ask you a specific question which you have not answered yet. The claim of the Congress that India has lost land to China, what is it based on? What is it based on?
Now here are certain facts that have been stated. There are reports, there are statistics, and there have been statements. Now here is
which
one thing.
statistics and which reports?
Now let's go by the Bharatiya Janata Party's word.
No.
Now,
Which statistics, which reports are you citing and quoting?
Mr. Modi said an intrusion there is no intrusion that has happened. Was Mr. Modi right at that point of time in 2020? Was he right when he said that there has been no intrusion? Do you say that?
No. You are saying that land and territory of India is with China. What are you quoting? What are you basing that on?
The foreign minister says there is an intrusion back in the day. But the prime minister says there is no intrusion. Now who do we believe? And this is on record. This is on record. Mr. Modi said it in the all-party meet. Now how do we believe the Bharatiya Janata Party when incidents are happening right in front of our eyes and the Prime Minister is denying? Now,
Karan Verma, respond to that. Respond to that. It's on record that there was an intrusion. Are you saying that there was no land ceded? Have we gone back to status quo ante? Have we gone back to status quo ante? That is the question, isn't it?
Of course we have. That has been confirmed by our armed forces, DGMO and PRO says so. He could not answer. He could not tell you the report. He just
No,
made up
now,
those
Mr.
reports.
No,
Modi,
he's basing it on Prime Minister Modi's statements. Okay, quick word to Lokesh Jindal and then I'm wrapping this. Yes, Lokesh Jindal. Quick word to Lokesh Jindal and then I'm wrapping. Yes, Lokesh. Let's listen to
When we are
Lokesh,
talking about
please.
the entire Galwan incident, what happened was the buffer zone got extended between finger 3 and finger 8. Now, extension of this buffer zone means that we have lost strategic outposts. The buffer zone means that both the armies are not going to patrol in that area. So what happened exactly was, after the Galwan incident, Chinese, they have managed to extend their own influence in this buffer zone up till finger 3 to finger 8. And that means that we have lost that entire status of buffer zone, and that is why we claim that about 2,000
So
square feet
technically,
of land
when you're
has
talking
been
about the
lost by
buffer
us.
zone, and of course we'll have to cede to experts on this, neither you nor I can claim to be an expert on this. I hope you'll agree with that, Lokesh. The line of actual control has already been under dispute. When we say that no inch of Indian territory has gone, would that be a technically correct statement if you're talking about the buffer zone? Your voice
That was
is gone.
signed between
Yeah.
India and China. Yeah, when the agreement was signed between India and China, there was an agreed buffer zone that was created, and both the countries, they agreed that they shall not be making resorting
Okay.
to arms and ammunitions. So whenever the Chinese, they intrude into this particular buffer zone and they claim their sovereignty there, it is basically intrusion into an agreed
Buffer zone.
status quo.
Okay. You know, the
So we
truth
are
of the matter
basically
is that there is a Chinese threat. Nobody is denying that.
buffer zone keeps extending
Nobody is denying
towards
that.
India.
The truth
Don't
of
you
the
think
matter
this
is
is
we need a
losing our land?
sensible discussion on it in Parliament. Nobody is denying that. I think everybody here agrees. We need a sensible, clear discussion on it in Parliament.
Yes,
We don't need distractions.
certainly.
Time for everyone to do their job. Please do your job in Parliament. Listen to what Mr. Dhankar said. And Mr. Dhankar didn't spare the leader of the House either. He told Mr. Piyush Goyal today, please control your Treasury benches. Let's get down to business. That's what we want to see. We'll take a very short break at this point, but we have the big story of the day ahead for you. What is this whole scare about China? The top epidemiologist who first put out that post with the pictures saying that 60% of China is likely to be infected in 90 days. There will be a large number of deaths. He is with me on the show on the other side. Stay tuned.